The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome again to the Back with the Backup podcast, episode number 23. It's good old Nate here for you. Brian is not here today. Little scheduling mishap. He'll be back tomorrow. I promise. So, for those of you waiting to see my guy, he'll be back tomorrow to join us, and we'll have a lot more conversation about the MLB and the NFL. A lot of big news happening today, this morning, here on the West Coast, and afternoon on the East Coast. But y'all get my drift. If y'all don't know, it's Nate. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday. I would try to bring the energy. Today was a bit of a rough start for the morning for sure, but it's all good. We will try to get things going and give you guys the energy and expertise that you deserve, because there's a lot of sports podcasts out there, and for you guys to decide to listen to this one, I appreciate it. So I will try my best to like I said, just give you the energy. And here we go. Little preview. Stefon Diggs, big trade in the NFL. He gets traded from Buffalo. He is on his way out, going to a young AFC contender. I gotta tell you that the team he got traded to, they're a scary team, man. We'll talk about that. Talk about some other NFL headlines around the league, and then we'll talk about the Oakland Athletics, as we always do. As unfortunately they fell last night to the Boston Celtics in a game that went into extra innings. But the big news of the day, Stefon Diggs is no longer a Buffalo Bill. He was traded this morning from the Bills to the Houston Texans. The trade details is as follows. The Bills receive a 2025 second-round pick, and the Texans receive Diggs, a 2024 sixth-round pick, and a 2025 fifth-rounder as well. For the Bills, we kind of saw this coming. Let's be honest. None of us are really surprised about this trade. And good old Billy here chimes in. My guy Billy from Belly Up says Texans are definitely contenders. The hottest up-and-coming quarterback with a serious supporting cast. I agree with you, Billy. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this trade was that this Texans team they went from obviously a contender of the AFC South to AFC contenders. You know, you have CJ Stroud, who's on a rookie contract. You added Joe Mixon in the offseason at running back, which is an upgrade, to be honest, from Devin Singletary, who's now on my Giants, but that's not the point. You added Stefon Diggs. You have Nico Collins, who shined last year when he was called upon to be the number one guy. Dell is a young and promising star before he got hurt last season. And you have Dalton Schultz at tight end. So this Texans team, we might as well start with Houston. This team is legit. I mean, offensively, defensively, their head coach is phenomenal. DeMeco Ryans has been one of the best additions for Houston in the past couple of years. He's been, just a great coach. His players love him. He brings a defensive background, but for him to be blessed with a great quarterback in CJ Stroud, who, like I just mentioned, is on a rookie contract. 2024 is going to be his second season in the league. He's set, man. I'm telling you. He already had Collins and Dell. It's going to be his second year in the system, and now you add in a bona fide number one guy in Stefon Diggs. This offense is going places. Plus, the offensive line is pretty solid itself, led by Laremy Tunsil. This Houston team is legit. There's no question about it. Now, Diggs is 30 years old. Last year was kind of a down year, but he still surpassed 1,000 yards. Like, the only bad thing about this trade is that Stefon Diggs is 30 years old, and he did have scuffles with his teammates in Buffalo. But then again, I guess another concern is that there were times where when he didn't get the ball, he was frustrated. So he goes from being the clear number one over here to you have Nico Collins and Tank Dell, two guys that produced last year with Houston. How is he going to feel when those situations happen? Maybe he learns his lesson. that, hey, there's nothing wrong with, sharing the ball around, especially when you have three talented wide receivers. As long as you're getting yours when you deserve to, then there's nothing to complain about. And for Diggs, he needed to change the scenery, to be honest. He's in Buffalo for what, almost 8-9 years. And a change of scenery is maybe what he needed. And he goes to a Houston team that is ready to contend. They were already ready to contend out the gate, and they're so ready to contend now. And all they traded was a second-round pick, which they received from the Minnesota Vikings. When the Vikings traded for Houston's first-round pick this year, they exchanged a second-round pick, which that second rounder was used to get Diggs. So pretty good trade, I must say, for the Houston Texans and Nick Cassero, their general manager. As for the Bills, they get a second-round pick, but that's for next year. They also have to deal with a $31 million dead cap hit this season. And this just adds to the list of guys that have departed Buffalo this offseason. Guys like Diggs and Gabriel Davis and Jordan Poyer, Tre'Davious White, just to name a few guys on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. This Bills team, even though they have Josh Allen, right now the receiving core is like Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir and Matt Collins, which isn't really the most promising wide receiving core, I should say. Cold Iron 0727 says, why did Diggs go for so low? That's a good question. I'm sure a first-round pick was discussed to trade for Diggs, but Houston was like, no, we'll give you a second at worst. You have to consider the age a little bit. You have to consider the contract in some way, shape, or form, because he did sign an extension with the Bills in 2022, which was a 4-year. I'm not exactly sure, but the contract has to play a role somewhat. It's not a crazy low deal for Diggs, but at the same time, a second-round pick is pretty impactful. It's just that the fact that Buffalo agreed to be next year's second-round pick instead of this year's, I don't know what they were thinking, but at the same time, you just have to consider everything, not just the money or the contract, but, his attitude with Buffalo. There were just so many scuffles, and the Bills at this point were like, okay, we might have to get rid of him. And then there's a tweet online about a conversation where someone said that Josh Allen doesn't need Stefon Diggs to succeed. And Diggs responded directly to that user saying, are you sure about that? And that was yesterday. Fast forward to today, Diggs gets traded. Hallelujah. Right. So, it's just, you're right. It is kind of low. Like you just said, for it to be a 2025 second rounder was all it took to get Diggs. Like any team could have done that. But at the same time, in a way, despite their disagreements at times between the Bills and Stefon Diggs, they did do him right by sending him to a team that will contend. And for all the seasons that he's produced for the Bills, I think it was kind of okay, thank you for your service. We'll send you to a team that, not only is give us a somewhat of a good deal, but also gives, you a chance to go win somewhere else. So kind of a win-win on both sides. Buffalo, like you just mentioned, Cold Iron, yes, still has a cap hit of over 30 million this year. Seems like something we don't know happened. Yeah. Like we just mentioned with the whole tweet thing that Diggs had with that user, and all the scuffles all the arguments that Diggs has had with Josh Allen or the coaching staff, wherever the case may be, when it comes to not getting the ball, for example. It's just, it is what it is for Buffalo. And look, just both sides just needed to be apart, and that's okay. So, yeah, it's clear the Bills need a receiver now. No question about that. And because you can't go into next season, especially with Josh Allen, a quarterback, with your only best weapon being James Cook, which is the running back. Guys like Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, and Matt Collins aren't going to scare opposing defenses. So obviously they're going to go receiver in the draft. Just a matter of when and who they will choose, whether it's Adonai Mitchell from Texas, Xavier Worthy from Texas, Troy Franklin from Oregon, just a few guys that they could choose with, considering the area that they're drafting at, which is like pick 27 or 28, whatever the case may be. So for the Bills, yeah, kind of a rough situation to be in. but at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. It's tough, but at the same, but you gotta. Sometimes things don't work out, and you gotta accept that. Whether it's in football or in your personal life, and I tell you, when they, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that's a big trade in the NFL. I'll tell you, man. Even on days where you have MLB, NBA, March Madness dominating the sports atmosphere, the NFL always finds a way to just reel you back in. And especially with this being draft month and everything like that, this was a great way to start the month for the NFL with this big trade between the Bills and the Texans. So once again, Stefon Diggs going from Buffalo to Houston for just a 2025 second-round pick, plus Houston gets additional compensation, including a 2024 sixth-rounder and a 2025 fifth-rounder as well. All righty. Before we shift towards baseball, of course, the Diamond, we have a message from our sponsors at SeatGeek. Ryan from No Credentials Required has a message for you all on why you should use SeatGeek for your next sporting event or any event out there. Take it away, Ryan.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
Thank you to Ryan. Remember, use the code BellyUp20 for a discount off your purchase on SeatGeek. Good place to get your tickets, all that fun stuff. All right, you know what time it is. The Oakland A segment. Yeah, we gotta find a better name for that segment. The Oakland Athletics last night fell to the Boston Red Sox in extra innings, 5-4. Some good stuff from the A's. Alex Wood, he pitched pretty well. 5 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, struck out 7, which was way better compared to his opening day start. The A's had offensively, they scored early. JJ Bleday, Shea Langoliers both hit 2 1-run home runs. That was kind of the only runs they had scored in the game. So then they were winning 4-3. Alex Wood exited out the game with the lead, and the bullpen sort of held it down, and then they blew it. As we're not surprised, as we're accustomed to seeing them do so. Lucas Irseg allowed the tying run to score when he came in relief. That was kind of devastating. The A's, they had a lead, man, and they just blew it. And it's like, damn, like for once, can they have something nice for once? The A's, seriously. Even though they don't deserve it with the whole ownership stuff, for us fans, we got to see a win, man. But game went into extra innings. Mason Miller, by the way, came out in the ninth and 10th inning, if I'm not mistaken. The man was throwing heat. He was throwing fire, 100 miles an hour, or consistently in terms of velocity and whatnot. He was bringing the heat, baby. I love Mason. I know I had some of my skepticism about Mason Miller in the beginning of the season, especially after what we saw in the opening series against Cleveland. But he came out against the Red Sox, and he was firing. This guy, so if he can keep this up, he's for sure going to be the closer for a while for the Oakland Athletics. But yeah, before we go to the extra innings part, I mean, some good stuff offensively. Brent Rooker got a couple of hits, even though I called for him to be benched in an article I wrote for Belly Up Sports. Check it out, by the way, if you want to. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, Langoliers, Bleday, 2 home runs each. Or, yeah, they each had a 2-run home run. And it's just that bullpen, man. They just blew it at the end. And they went to extra innings. The Red Sox scored in the top of the 11th, and after that, the A's couldn't get anything done. They did have a chance to score in the 10th. The A's had; they would have won it, but I think it was J.D. Davis grounded out to the pitcher, and Ryan Noda was the ghost runner, so he was moved over to third base on a bunt by Zach Geloff, but then Davis came in and he grounded out to the pitcher, and that just kind of messed everything up. So, and basically Noda got caught in a rundown, and yeah, so. Other than that, Red Sox scored in the top of the 11th. The A's couldn't get anything in the bottom of the 11th, and the A's fall once again to the Red Sox. I think in a couple hours, actually, it's the last game of the series, so I'm going to speed this a little bit up so we can get you guys ready for that one. Today, Ross Stripling will take the mound for the A's, and Nick Pivetta will take the mound for the Boston Red Sox in the final game of the series before the A's go on the road for a 6-game road trip. So, Oakland lost. Tough to see. Hopefully they can salvage something like they salvaged against Cleveland in that 4-game series. More importantly, with Oakland, speaking about the city, the A's denied a deal, as we mentioned on yesterday's episode, that the city of Oakland proposed a deal that would require the A's to pay $97 million for a lease extension on the stadium for up to 5 years with an option to opt out after 3, but no agreement was reached on Tuesday's meeting. An A spokesperson told Kron 4 News that, quote, "We appreciate Oakland's engagement, but also we are far apart from the terms needed to agree on an extension." So things continue to unravel with that. The A's are also considering Sacramento, and they will be meeting with them one of these days. I think it's today or regardless, they will be meeting up. And maybe Sacramento could be the new home for the A's for the next few years. We will see what happens with that. But the whole stadium situation, a bit of a mess right now. So we will see what happens with that. Other news with the A's, that's kind of it. We'll see what happens today with their last game of the series against Boston. Hopefully they can get a win. Hopefully Stripling has a better outing, just like his teammate Alex Wood did yesterday. But shout out to Alex Wood. Pretty solid performance. Hopefully that can be a stepping stone to bouncing back this season. And finally, Rashee Rice is cooperating with authorities. It seems like he was part of the accident. He was. But he is cooperating with authorities. Actually, if you don't know, Rashee Rice was a name involved in a crash that took place on Saturday in Dallas, involving a Lamborghini and a Corvette. Both cars are under his responsibility, basically. And at first, I thought he wasn't in the car. Turns out he was. Images didn't really show him. Didn't look like him at first, but after further review, thank you TMZ, by the way, that is him. So that's going to be an issue. But he is cooperating, so that is good to see for Mr. Rice. And that's kind of pretty much it. Pretty short episode. I do apologize. But hey, Brian's back tomorrow. We'll talk more baseball, get more input on his Mets, and we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully the A's salvage series today. Make sure to like, subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for watching, whether on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X, all that stuff. It's your boy, Nate. Thank you so much again. And remember, it's okay to be the starter. It's okay to be the backup. Just don't ever be the backup to the backup. Have a great day. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for your support as always. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.